What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Martian and Ozzy podcast. I am the Martian, joined by my co-host. As always, this week we're going to be talking about the UFC 278 pay-per-view card going down in Salt Lake City, Utah. Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman, the rematch for the UFC welterweight championship. This has got to be the UFC's first time in Utah, right? And it's a pretty good pay-per-view card going along with it. How we doing this week, Ozzy?
Yeah, I'm very curious to see the let's just say demographics in the arena there at Salt Lake City. 4,200 feet up in the air, so it is like a altitude city as well. So curious to see what that does to some of the fighters. But yeah, I mean, it looks like I guess in the UFC, like Kamaru Usman, like his share of pay-per-view points and stuff is going up because the card is not the deepest I've ever seen. I mean, for God's sake, Tyson Pedro, I think, is the first fighter. Like Wu Yanan is on the pay-per-view. That's what I'm telling you, man. China must have infiltrated, bro. How the hell is Wu Yanan on the main card, bro? It's fucking nuts.
No way.
But
She's not.
yeah, that's what I heard.
No, I don't think so.
No, I heard that.
Tapology doesn't have that. I'll check the
No,
UFC's website.
no, someone said that Wu Yanan. Yes, if you look at, you can't trust Tapology, you nerd. You got to look at the books, who the books have time wise, and they got Harry
Oh
Hunsucker,
my gosh, you're right. You're right.
Wu
On the UFC's
Yanan, and then Marab fighting. What the
so
hell are they
UFC's
doing?
website, they do have Wu Yanan on the
They're
main card.
fucking wilding
They
out, bro.
that's got to be a mistake. That's got to be a mistake.
Dude, they're wilding out. I mean, people are betting Wu Yanan. That might be the main event, bro. That might be the better's main event right now. So, not, people are gonna start talking about betting Pudilova. So it's gonna be an important fight. You could bet your bottom dollar, Martian. That will be an important fight, very important for a few people. So
Sadly.
crazy.
But last week was a pretty good card. Very good track bets for me. 3 units in the green. Five prop bets. All five won. All five on overs and GTDs. I'm a
Wow,
transform man at this point. I'm
wow.
betting a lot of overs, a lot of GTDs. Sticking with the dogs. 2 out of 4 dogs won. In the money line category, catchaware and landwear. Cruz was a solid bet at 200. The only bet I really regret was Devin Clark. He just looked terrible out there, but
Told you he
it was a
fucking sucks.
legendary card for underdogs. 6 underdogs won, some big dogs too. Tyson Nam, Angela
I
Hill,
said Nam
uh,
got to a crazy number there at the end, 350. Man,
360. Yeah,
rest in peace, bro, boys. Who
and
was laying that?
last thing I'll say is just live bets. They were great last card. I feel like just the live bets have been amazing these past few weeks. I mean, that's
Right.
just really where the edge is, and I'm definitely going to be starting to increase the amount I'm
However, you
betting on
also
these
have to
live.
be careful. Yes, sometimes you make large wagers on openers and you can't play it back live. So always remember it's not always uh fail proof.
Yeah, yeah, this is true. But specifically, if you joined the spaces last week, just a lot of live lines that were great value that were shouting out. So make sure you're joining the spaces and checking us out, talking about those fights. How was it for
What's
you?
your cash app? Are you gonna drop your cash app for donation for tips?
Nah, nah, I don't think I'm at that
No,
point yet.
no,
Maybe if the times
no.
start getting rough or something like that, and I keep losing opening bets
Never.
and stuff like that, maybe I'll turn to that. But
The best time is always now. I don't know if you've ever heard that, Martian. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, I had a decent card as well. Obviously, Dominic Cruz wasn't able to finish the job, but plus 200. I mean, I'm telling you, I make that bet every day of the week. He just got caught there late. Nate Landwehr, big dog, decent sized bet on him, and then I ended up on Yasmin, the Mexican, there at the end. I also had like one or two live bets that were solid. Um, and I did end up playing Nina Nunez because it did end up staying above that like 160 number or whatever it was. And yeah, it was an overall fun card. I only got to catch a little bit of the main card, but I wish I would have been on GM3, but it's all good. Profitable event, little up over a little bit over a unit. Good night at Contender Series yesterday, and my boy Jose Johnson getting a contract. So we're rolling it on to this week now.
Yeah, Contender Series was good last night, and just, the recap of the best bets, though, my bet won in sketchy fashion, the GTD
Oh,
on Zalal, Blackshear, um,
easy.
and, Ozzy's not so much. I think the official best bet, which one was it?
It's
Cruz, I think,
Dominic
right?
Cruz. Dominic Cruz.
It
Yes,
was,
Dominic
so
Cruz.
at least it was EV, at least it was plus EV.
At
Um,
least, yeah. At
yeah,
least.
the Cachoeira one, that who knows whatever bullshit happened in that fight, but, yeah, so let's get into these fights. 13
Yeah.
fights. First one is in the flyweight division. Victor Altamirano taking on Daniel De Silva or Lacerda, whatever this guy's going by. They have Altamirano minus 150, De Silva plus 130. A lot of action coming in on De Silva in the past 24 hours. Some big line movement. Altamirano's your boy, Ozzy, so I'll pass this one to you to start this off this week.
Yeah, I like Victor's game. I mean, the guy's pretty long for flyweight. He's a southpaw, and he just got a nonstop motor. Like the guy, he doesn't have big power, but he does have a submission game. His takedown defense is probably his worst attribute. But he's got come back in plenty of fights, like won decisions, won by finish. And Lacerda, on the other hand, I haven't seen him really like, first of all, submission wise, I think he would need to take this dude's back and choke him out, and he's never, literally never done that. So he goes for like arm bars and stuff like that, and it's not like Victor's a noob on the ground. I mean, you saw what happened to Lacerda in his last fight. The guy, Figueiredo, who we had, ended up submitting him and inverted and got a knee bar finish like right away as soon as they hit the ground. So I mean, he's not that dominant of a grappler control wise. I don't think he's that great submission wise. And then if they're on their feet, I mean, I think he could compete a bit depending on the sequence and how he uses his energy. But Victor's just a me fresher. He mixes it up better. He throws great body kicks. I mean, I think there's a case to be made that he won the Hernandez fight, but it was a close fight. No, you can't complain about it too much. But I mean, you're gonna hear it under 160. I like Victor here. I think he's gonna win. I'm gonna be on him on the money line at this point. I was even thinking about it when it was like a quarter more expensive. So, at this point, I think he's a decent favorite to play. I think Lacerda's weaknesses play into his strengths, and I think he's gonna pick up his first UFC win.
Yeah, and I'm in agreement with most of that. I'm pretty surprised by this Lacerda action, but I feel like Lacerda has been getting like late action in all of his UFC fights, and I don't understand it. I did a deep tape of this guy before the Molina fight, and every fight is the same of his. He gets an early takedown, he gets aggressive going for the back, and he's just really sloppy. He's not a high level grappler. He ends up falling off the back and then ends up going for arm bars and triangles. That's all you see on his record is arm bars and triangles. And I think a similar thing's going to happen here, where I think Lacerda can get an early takedown. Altamirano isn't a great defensive wrestler, and he's probably going to get one good position on Altamirano. He's going to get a back take, and then he's going to fall off like he always does. And I think Altamirano should just take over from that point. Now, if hearing that makes you, risk adverse enough to not bet Altamirano before the fight and maybe only search for a live bet, that's kind of a dangerous strategy because I think just one turn of the tide moment, one reversal here is all Altamirano will need to gain that momentum. And like Ozzy said, he doesn't stop. He comes forward for 3 rounds. He has really good cardio and output. And I just think if this gets to rounds 2 and 3, it's going to be all Altamirano at that point. So I think Altamirano at under 160, 170 is a good spot. But you might as well hold, guys. I mean, it seems like the action is steady coming in on De Silva, so maybe we get an even better price on Altamirano. So that's enough about that one. Next fight is in a bantamweight division. Alichi Lang taking on Jay Perrin. They have Alichi Lang as the favorite minus 135, Perrin plus 115. We used to call this guy Aori, but now I'm officially respecting the Chinese pronunciation of his name, Alichi Lang, because this dude is actually not a bad fighter. I mean, I think one of the better fighters coming out of China I've seen in recent years. He's a solid athlete, moving up in weight. Just destroyed Cameron Ellis in his last fight. And I think that he had some issues at 125 with his cardio, kind of slowed down in round three of the Molina and the Durden fight. But I think moving up to 135 here might be a better thing for his cardio. He was really durable down at 125, and I think that he will, continue to be durable at 35. And the guy just seems like a pretty strong, physically fit fighter. And I think that he's probably going to have a strength and athletic advantage over Perrin here. Perrin is, a decent, journeyman-esque fighter, has fought some decent regional promotions. I think his boxing is all right. His grappling is all right. He's a pretty bad defensive wrestler. I've seen him get taken down in almost all of his fights. Um, and I think he probably will get taken down by Aori here or Ilichi Lang here, but I don't see either guy really solidifying top control. I think it's going to be an up and down, back and forth fight. Um, and I know some people that are respecting and betting Perrin here and are having some good expectations from him. And maybe my read on Perrin is wrong. I don't think this guy is that good anywhere, and I think Aori is just going to be able to use his physicality to kind of bully him in situations here. And I think Aori, I give him maybe just a slight advantage on the feet and on the ground here. I just think his power and his strike selection is going to be a little bit too much for Perrin, and I see Alichi Lang edging out a decision here. Not a super confident pick, definitely not eager to lay the juice, but with the steady action coming in on Perrin, I'm considering betting Ilichi Lang at this price.
Sick, dude. I mean, this is a fight I'm still reserving a little bit of judgment on. Um, no, I like Jay Perrin. I when he had a early contender fight, right? He fought like some Mexican dude or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he got out wrestled and lost.
Oh, black guy. Dwight Joseph, was
Yep,
it that
that's
he
him.
fought?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, from Alpha Male. So yeah, I had taped him before that fight, and then that fight happened. And I was like, I'm not sure like how good the guy is really, but he came in on short notice against Batista. He did hang with him, overall in all facets of the fight game. But I don't know. I feel like I had liked Orichi Lang a few times, like against Molina when he came in. I thought he was solid obviously against Durden. And I mean, the guy's got some power. I mean, he's a wild man. He has like, if I'm not mistaken, I've seen a lot of his regional tape where he has some submissions and he's not a noob on the ground. So I'm kind of interested in this fight, maybe going a little later. But I think at this point, I probably would actually lean towards the Richie Lang side on the money line. At this chalk because I'm not sure about if Jay can keep the kind of pace that he needs to in terms of volume or scramble ability to keep pace with Richie Lang. I could be wrong though, and sometimes betting on cardio is not the best. But I think that Richie Lang will just be the more active fighter here, put out the better offense, and I think this will be a fun fight. So I think it should be competitive, but I'd side with him as the favorite and the pick.
All right, that's going to move us along to the next fight in the flyweight division. A lot of lower weight class fights here. Amir Albazi coming back from a long layoff, taking on Francisco Figueiredo. Albazi, huge favorite, minus 510. Figueiredo plus 395. So, pretty long layoff for Albazi here. I think like maybe 20 months or something like that. But yeah, you're breathing in the mic, Ozzy.
Sorry.
But the odds and the market, still having complete faith in Albazi. Figueiredo is not a terrible fighter, but 4-1, I think he might be getting a little crazy here. But I think it's your turn to start this one off. What's your read here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate Francisco Figueiredo, but I've always been high on Albazi. I had him against Zumagulov, and I thought that he would be able to mix some martial arts. He is pretty good at that. He trains a lot with the Bashrat dudes, and they're also pretty good at mixing up the striking with the grappling. But he's mainly a grappler. And what I think will probably happen here is he's gonna get takedowns, and Figueiredo is going to attack from the bottom and end up just staying there long enough to make it where it's a mere building up a lead. So I think he's going to win with grappling. I could potentially see him countering some transitions and attempts that Figueiredo has from bottom and getting to good positions similar to like he did with against Zumagulov. But more likely, if he depending on how aggressive Figueiredo is, I think it'll probably go the distance. But I like Albazi as a prospect overall. But he's a big boy too, making 125. So I wouldn't lay this kind of chalk on him.
Yeah, I'm trying to find some way to play the fight just because, obviously I think the money line is not too inspiring. Obviously it's dog or pass at this price. And the props though, I mean, I feel like there could be some value in some of these props. Kind of leaning towards, Albazi ITD versus decision. Not really sure which one it's going to be, but they have Albazi KO at 7-1. I think that might be an interesting price for Albazi. Because I think he could probably hurt Figueiredo on the feet here, maybe even get a ground and pound TKO as well. Because Figueiredo gives up pretty easy takedowns, and he also does tend to fade as the fight goes on. Malcolm Gordon fight's a great example of that. Really ran out of steam there. Even the Jerome Rivera fight, I think he lost round three of that fight after winning the first two rounds. So Figueiredo in round three is not a good cardio fighter, and the props are kind of pricing that as well. Albazi round three only 9-1. You never like to get 9-1 on a round three prop. Uh, so, tough to see any bets that I see value on right now. The only one that really sticks out is Albazi KO at 7-1. So, it's enough about that fight. The next fight is in the welterweight division. AJ Fletcher on Jalusa. AJ Fletcher's the favorite, minus 150, Anjusa plus 140. Not a whole lot of thoughts here, except for I think this fight is pretty likely to go to the decision. And I think that's the bet that I see with the most value of any bet on the board here. GTD at minus 135. Um, and the over 2.5 is minus 185, minus 190. I'm not sure where that extra, what is that, 5 or 6% is going. I think it's going to go the distance at that point. I don't think both guys are exactly a cardio threat. Um, Fletcher is much more front loaded, while Lusa seems more suited for the second half of the fight. But Lusa is kind of a decision fighter. He doesn't search for finishes much, and Fletcher. I'm just not impressed by this guy. I don't really know what to make of him yet. I think he could end up being not good at all and kind of just a contender series or bust fighter, or he might actually have some potential. I'm not really sure what to make of him. So the GTD is what I'm thinking here for a bet.
Um, cool, right on. Yeah, I mean, this is a fight where I was thinking about it for this week a decent amount, and I came to the conclusion that I'm playing Angelusa because Fletcher, like some of the ground positions that Summelsberger was just giving up were just like, I think lower level than what Lusa is going to be able to provide, and then given that, that means that if Fletcher does get good positions, it's going to be from his own accord. I don't think he's going to be, taking advantage of, bad decisions from Lusa. I think Lusa has a pretty, he knows what he wants to do, getting back up, and he's been taken down before, and even his own grappling game is not that bad. And we saw Semmelsberger go to the takedown late in round three, and kind of easily hold down, Fletcher. So I'm not sure about Fletcher. I don't know if he really does have what it takes to stick in the UFC. The guy's got tiny reach. Lusa's got is much longer than him. And if you look at, I mean, Lusa got off to a bad start against Lazaz. But I mean, looking at the other two rounds, I thought he did okay. Obviously, in the third round, Lazaz started to pull away a little late, but I didn't think that was a bad round overall for Lusa. And I think if he could show up with a third round like this here, I don't think that Fletcher's gonna finish him. Whether it be on the ground or on the feet. So I kind of like him. This is like one underdog, one of the first underdogs or only underdogs that I'm really liking, and I think that there's a decent amount of value here on this money line. So I'm gonna play it 140. I'm in.
One thing to consider here in all fights that are going to the decision, we're going to be in Utah, and I don't know what the MMA scene is like in Utah, but I can't imagine there's a whole lot of fights going on. These judges, you have no idea if they're going to be experienced or not, or they could just be, random state employees just clocking in on a Saturday night to determine these MMA fights. So the split decision props are really good this week, but if you're playing a fighter that is probably going to win by decision, I think you should maybe have a little bit of caution there. Next fight is in women's flyweight division. Miranda Maverick taking on Shayna Young. Maverick is the huge favorite here, minus 660. Shayna Young plus 485. And the action just keeps coming in on Maverick. Everybody's parlaying her, and it just doesn't seem to stop. Any bets you see interesting here at all, Aussie?
No, I'm a Shanimal fan. And last fight, I was, people laughed at me. The Egger fight, I had Shanimal. People laughed. And then I said, you know what? I'm dollar cost averaging again against Gina Mazzani. And frankly, it was great because I let people just keep playing her up, and I got the best line ever available. And she came through, not bad. She showed her wrestling. She stayed in there in the first round, was able to outlast. Now the thing is, I don't know if her cardio is really that good. I just think that what's her name? Who's the girl she was fighting? Gina Mazzani just sucks, like in terms of the conditioning, and if she can't just run you over, she just kind of starts looking for a way out, starts to panic. Maverick, I don't think will have that case, but I don't think this fight is gonna be finished. But I got a bad read on Miranda Maverick fights. I'm telling you right now. But I just don't think she's gonna likely finish the Shanimal. Um, the Shanimal, she's got okay enough grappling, and I just don't see a knockout. But I'm not playing this fight. I said all that just to say I'm not playing this fight, just because I mean Shanimal, she could feel the altitude, and the one thing, matter of fact, I'm not even gonna say that one point. So I think that Miranda will have the better conditioning here. I'll just say that. So yeah, it's a pass fight. I would not parlay this. Like this is crazy chalk, but you never know. I mean, it could look dominant for Miranda. If she does get her down, but I don't know if she's reliable to get takedowns. Consistently, like 3 rounds, against a fighter the caliber of with the grappling as good as Shanimals is. So yeah.
I don't know. I mean, didn't Shayna Young like get choked? Yeah, she got choked out by Sarah Alpar. Oh wait, they fought before? They what the
Ooh,
fuck? Miranda Maverick
Sarah
and Shayna
Alpha.
Young? No, Miranda Young, Maverick and Shayna Young have fought before.
Yeah,
Back
that
in
was like a 1 round fight, wasn't it? Some shit like
yeah, and
that.
Miranda choked her out in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I had no fucking clue.
Yeah, but that was the old Shanimal, bro. New Shanimal, she's been looking
This is
good.
true, but I mean, I didn't even know that. It shows how much research we're doing into this fight. But I mean, I
I
kind of think
I
that
knew. I fucking told you. It was like 1 round, but I'm saying it was only scheduled for 1 round. I think
yeah,
it was like
yeah.
one of those one night things.
But still, a Maverick could get her out of there in one. But I feel like no interest in this fight except for maybe I don't know, man. Maverick ITD. I mean, you got to think if she finished her in
Sleep on the Shanimal.
if
Don't
she
sleep
finished
on the
her
Shanimal.
if she finished her in 2.5 minutes in the only sample size we have, ITD at plus money
Exhibition,
might not be a bad move.
exhibition, bro. It was an
That's enough
exhibition.
about that one. All right, next fight is an interesting one in
Shanimal has also fought at altitude before. She fought in Albuquerque. Stay woke.
didn't and she lost to Macy Chastain, right?
Correct. Yes.
Um, all right, now featherweight division, Sean Woodson taking on Luis Saldana. And the odds for this one have Woodson as a big favorite, minus 350, Saldana plus 285. I mean, I think the price is pretty justified, man. I don't think Saldana has many paths to victory here. I think this should be an episode of the Sean Woodson show, and I think that we're probably going to see a finish from Woodson here. I mean, I think it should be knockout. But I was talking with Ozzy about this earlier. He pointed out the KO is 2-1, ITD is 175. At that point, you might as well take 175. I agree with that. And the prices are starting to open up on DraftKings and FanDuel finally. So I might have to look at those to see where the best ITT price is. But I think that Woodson's probably going to knock this guy out in the second or third round. What are you thinking here, Ozzy?
Yeah, I agree. I was on the Woodson. ITD was like 225 against Anglin. He's got great body shots. Someone needs to check. I've watched the tape a few times, like a number of times in the Saldana versus Austin Lingo fight, but I swore that Austin Lingo had a knife in his hand when he dropped him with that body shot in the third round. I mean, this guy goes down from a jab to the body, and it wasn't even like to your solar plexus. I don't know what's up with the guy, but if you're going down from fucking jabs in the third round, you got a problem if you're fighting Sean Woodson. So I like Sean Woodson here to finish the fight at some point. Like I said, I don't get too cute with the which round, all this, stuff. I like less variance, just rooting for this dude to get knocked the fuck out or submitted, whatever it is. I don't care what he does. So yeah, I think Woodson's gonna finish him. Saldana, he'll come out strong enough, to get some respect. But eventually, Woodson, I think he's durable. He'll take the kicks and then take the space and then start uncorking his hands. Saldana's used to, having size advantage. Not gonna happen here. Altitude, this guy's cardio is awful. I mean, he should have lost the Bruno Souza fight. Woodson's gonna go to the body. Woodson's gonna throw some spin kicks, some knees, the clinch. He should be able to wreck. Saldana fucking sucks. Long-winded way to say that. I mean, even like his wins, dude. Most of his wins are against jobbers.
He got some
So
lucky ass decisions, like 2 lucky decisions in the
yeah, this
UFC.
dude fucking sucks. He sucks. He's not good. I mean, Woodson should track him down. Man, Woodson's a parlay piece this week. Let's go.
Yeah, I do actually agree with that. Now, probably one of the safer favorites we've been talking about so far. And that's gonna move us on. Next fight, women's. Oh wait, so no, this is Tapology, so this is wrong. So I gotta readjust this thing. So I think Jared Gordon is next. Uh, Lightweight division. Jared Gordon taking on Leo Santos. Jared Gordon is the favorite, minus 255. Leo Santos 215. What's your angle on this fight, Ozzy?
Interesting fight to put together, both for Grants. Missouri Khabib's children right here. Finish both of them, so have them fight. Classic UFC matchmaking. Throw them in a round robin. Um, I mean, it's kind of interesting fight to me. Obviously Gordon's got great cardio. Leo Santos does not. Gordon gets hurt to the body. Leo Santos hurts people to the body. Gordon gets knocked out by Brazilians. Leo Santos is Brazilian, and for all his grappling acumen, he wins by knockout. So you got to stay away from this fight in terms of betting it. Now, if you're playing like DraftKings, those things like that, I understand targeting it because, or I don't know, I don't really know too much, but I actually think there's finishing equity on both sides. I mean, Leo Santos is not here to fight 15 minutes, and Jared Gordon isn't either. Even though his record says that he is, I promise you he's not. And he wants to get a finish over this guy, and he knows when to press, his advantages. So I mean, Jared around 3, what is that? It's got to be horrible price. 10-1, not good enough. But I think Jared's gonna get this win. I mean, I think he'll block some of these shots. Some of these shots that Leo Santos is uncorking. But I can't bet it. I mean, maybe I'll take. I hope I could get maybe some 4-1 on him by KO. I think I would take a little, shot action, with a prop there. But otherwise, I'm gonna pass on this fight. I just don't trust Leo Santos anymore. He just does not fight optimally. He's old. Like, I don't know. I just like he's never really been. I never really liked him all that much, but I supported him because he was a jiu-jitsu guy. But I hope Jared, New York, the man from New York, gets another UFC win here. I think another contract too. Maybe he goes to PFL too and fights Shane Burgos in the tournament. I think his contract is up soon, but I don't know. I'm no agent.
Yeah, I mean, Leo is 42, and like this guy's been a high level athlete for like well over 20 years. I mean, he was doing, I mean, like it says IBJJF tournaments back in 2001. I'm sure he was competing in Brazil well before that too as well. So you're talking about like a 25-year jiu-jitsu and MMA career, and I mean you're just seeing the years on him. I mean, still dangerous in spots, still like early on dangerous. It's just once he gets out of round one, the guy just doesn't have the cardio to keep going. But still, I mean, I think he could have a moment early on here where he gives Gordon some trouble, maybe with a punch or a takedown or something, or just some crazy moment. He does have a way of kind of getting some crazy moments to go his way in the cage. Except, I mean, he was about to knock out Leo Chad Clay Guida in his last fight.
Clay Guida.
Yeah, but then the referee didn't stop it. It was like a nonstop onslaught for a minute straight, and he gassed out after that one. Kind of a tough loss there. I mean, he probably should have deserved to knock him out in round one, but. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that Leo will probably look good for a round, but then round 2 and 3, he's gonna start fading. Gordon will take over. So look for a Gordon live bet here, midway, halfway through round, or midway or after round 1 on Gordon. And the prices aren't great, but I do think Gordon KO 2, 1100, KO 3, 1300 might be worth a poke here because he could pour it on for a finish late. Um, Although, honestly, I mean, Gordon did fade in round 3 versus Grant Dawson, and he also had a really close fight with, Selecki in round 3
He
as
did.
well too. So, I don't
Only
know, man.
facts.
maybe that's not a good idea after all. Um,
Yeah, I agree.
uh, yeah, I mean, I can't endorse Gordon money line here at any point. I think it'll be a live or pass situation. And that's going to take us to the next fight, which I'm going a little bit out of order here because I don't know the official lineup. But I'm just going to do Tybura next, the heavyweight division. Um, we have Marcin Tybura taking on Alexander Romanov, and the odds for this one, Romanov, huge favorite here. Where is he at? Minus 340, Tybura plus 280. And I think that Marcin Tybura is probably the best opponent that Romanov has fought. Somebody else pointed this out. I think that they think that Espino is a tougher matchup, which I do agree, just because he's very comfortable in those wrestling situations. But in terms of like an accoladed fighter, I think Tybura has to be the best opponent that Romanov's fought, and he's still a gigantic favorite. I mean, once upon a time, this fight was supposed to happen as Romanov's debut fight in the UFC, and Romanov has done some good things since then. Has outgrappled a lot of guys, but I mean, I think that he's still overrated a bit, you know? I still think that the guy, he just relies on that big explosive takedown, and he relies on the guys being really bad off their back, and I think that Tybura is just gonna be a much more difficult opponent for him here. I still think that Romanov will win the fight. I just think it'll be, more difficult than people are imagining. And I'm leaning for the fight to go into the second half of the fight here. I did bet the over 1.5. I think that starts round two has value, starts round three. Even the GTD, they all have value because I think this has high potential to go the full 15 minutes. And I just don't think that Romanov is going to easily slam Tybura down and get him out of there. Tybura might get exhausted on bottom and lose as the fight goes on. But obviously, I was surprised to see Romanov finish him in round one, considering I am betting the over. So the over prices are getting steamed a bit. I think I would probably lean towards the starts round three at this time at minus 108 on FanDuel. But fun fight. We like these guys a lot. I mean, money line wise, dog or pass for sure. Tabura's been a good money train. I'm interested to see if Ozzy's going to be riding him here as well. What are we thinking?
Tybura's a fucking boy. He's a homie. He's invited to every cookout I ever have. I mean, I've bet on him in his last, the 5 fight run that he went on, starting with your boy Sergey Spivak, absolutely demolished that lad, and then followed up fighting Maxine Grisham, where he was like pick him against a dude that used to fight a light heavyweight, easy winner. And I mean, all his lines were super competitive, and he won like easily in all these fights that he had. So I'm glad he made some money there. He had that Volkov fight. I bet on him there too. He was a huge underdog there as well, and he had maybe like the opposite of Romanov, right? A guy that just wants to strike with him. But I agree. I mean, Tybura is well rounded. I mean, he's got takedown skills of his own. Romanov is shrinking. This guy, let me see, what did he weigh in his last fight? Because Tybura's a big motherfucker. He's 250, but he's not Eastern European. 236. I mean, that guy's looking smaller too in this camp. So Tybura's gonna have like maybe like a 20 pound, 20
He
pound
weighed
Mitch.
he weighed 265 versus Vandera, and then 6 months
Yeah.
later weighed 29 pounds less.
Yeah, he's way smaller. He looks smaller again. I saw a picture of him. He looks small. But Tybura's, I mean, a 250. All I'm saying is, Tybura, not only he's not like fucking Chase Sherman and Vandera that they're just big but have no grappling, awareness or skill. He's more like Juan Espino, where he knows how to grapple, a bit, and he'll even go for his own takedown. So I could see this being a difficult fight for Romanov. I've been high on Romanov. I've been riding that train. But I'm not stopping betting on Marcin Tybura. I mean, what was I doing earlier? Like this thing was at 330, 350. I need to get off vacation mode. But yeah, I'm gonna take Tybura, just a shot, dog shot. Not too big because Romanov is good. And he'll go for these takedowns. He's kind of agile, but this will be a very legit win. If Romanov could get past Tybura easy, if he could finish him, like he's a problem in the division. I don't know. I don't even know if he stays in the division though. But yeah, Romanov's cool, but I'll take maybe a little small play on Tybura.
Yeah, I don't think I can do it this time. I think this is a little too much for him, but I wish him the best, and let's just hope it goes over 1.5. So Tapology finally wised up and has the main card in correct order. Ozzy was way ahead of him on that, but we're at the main card now. Light heavyweight division: Tyson Pedro, Harry Hunsucker. You heard me right. This is on a pay-per-view main card. Tyson Pedro -800, Harry Hunsucker +500. Ozzy, is there any way to bet this fight at all, or is there just no way?
No, man. I mean, starting off the main card, this is a good one because you don't need to be real sitting down. You could be like getting a drink ready, chatting up whoever's there, a little bit, just so you don't look like you're like too obsessed with people, the human race fighting in cages. So just skip this one. I mean, I would think that Hunsucker's gonna get finished. But, I mean, they have a very big Polynesian population over there, so they put in Utah, so they put Tyson Pedro on here. Genius. He's gonna start off the main card, knocking Harry Hunsucker out. But I don't even know at this point what Harry Hunsucker looks like, and it doesn't even fucking matter. But I'm not betting on this fight. If you need to, man, I can't give you a suggestion. Figure that shit out on your own. And yeah, I just can't take Hunsucker. But would I be surprised if he knocked out Tyson Pedro? No. But these are just not the kind of fights that I personally bet. So
You'd be
Mazel Tov.
surprised. Come on, you'd be surprised.
But we're surprised at what?
If the 5-1 dog knocks this guy out, and you wouldn't be surprised.
Not that surprised, bro. Tyson Pedro's he had like you think he has depth as like in
Hell
defense? Like
no.
no.
He's no
Exactly. He could
good.
get hit. So I'm saying he could just throw a jab cross and get hit bonked to the left hook. Like why that be that surprised? It's heavyweight.
Yeah, well, if it's not that surprising, you might be considering a bet on Hunsucker
Like,
KO
no,
11-1.
no, thank I'm good. I'm good. I'm just
I man,
not
the only bet I can think of looking at all of them right now that might be interesting is starts round 2 at +200. Like maybe they cage push for a while, or Tyson Pedro takes him down and trying to work on his wrestling, or he wants to extend the fight a little bit longer instead of just finishing a guy in one.
sure.
That's the only thing
Bets
I can
like
think
this,
of. But
bets like that, and like bets on like Harry Hunsucker, where he'll land a few, and then people arguing about if there was a stupid bet. Those are the situations I do not live for. So I'm
well,
skipping. I don't even want to be associated with the fight.
I think actually the one I mean, the Ike Villanueva fight, guys. I didn't even rewatch it this week, but it went 4 minutes and 55 seconds. Like it was on the verge of going to round two, and I think Villanueva might be even worse than Hunsucker. So I mean, at least Hunsucker is like a legit heavyweight. Who? Oh wait, no, this isn't even heavyweight.
Exactly,
This isn't heavyweight. This is 205.
like heavyweight.
Yeah, so he's
Hunsucker
maybe.
doesn't take kicks, though, dude.
Yeah, he doesn't, and he's gonna be cutting weight now. He's probably gonna have some chin issues. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not actually gonna endorse a bet on this one. I'm just trying to give some angle. GTD is +770 here. Holy shit. Um, enough about that bullshit. Getting along to an absolute banger of a fight, Lucy Pudilova versus Wu Yanan. We were talking about this one in the beginning of the podcast. Heavily discussed fight this week in betting circles. Pudilova -116, Wu -104. A lot of action on Wu. She was a pretty reasonable dog, 135, I think, early in the week last week. Now she's might be trending towards closing as the favorite. So um, I think whose turn is it to start, Ozzy? I think I'll talk about this one first, just because I'm just beaming with excitement. So Pudilova's back in the UFC. She lost several fights in a row. I think beat some regional women in the Octagon promotion, which is a decent promotion. Looks like she fought some reasonable women with okay records. But before she left the UFC, she lost 4 in a row. She got out grappled in a lot of those fights. Justine Kish out grappled her. Shevchenko choked her out. Carmouche out grappled her. You know, so she's clearly not a good fighter. I striking is strong. She probably a better striker than Wu Yanan, but I think that she has no ability to control where the fight is going to go. I don't think that she can really stop takedowns or has good footwork. So if Wu Yanan just bullies her way to try to get takedowns here, she might actually get those takedowns and might be able to outgrapple Pudilova. From a money line perspective, I think people are a little fucking crazy betting this fight. Honestly, like I get that Pudilova was moving and you could, hop in on plus money while you get some CLV. I don't see it, man. This shit is gonna be just the stupidest fight you can ever imagine. I have a bet on the fight. You don't have to lay juice. It's Wu by sub. Wu by sub at 11-1. I just think that she's gonna be trying to get the fight to the floor here. And Pudilova has been submitted by Antonina Shevchenko, who is not a grappler at all. So Wu by sub 11-1. I think Wu has a sub in the UFC too. I think like Lauren Mueller or something. Yeah, Lauren Mueller armbar
Armbar that
sub.
bitch.
Give me Wu sub at 11-1.
Oh, so that's the pick. The pick to click is 11-1. I mean, another
I'm a
fight. I mean,
I'm
this
a
is
bet it right now.
insane. This fight's insane. Like Sean and Mick, what do you? Who's in charge of the women's divisions? Bring me in. Bring me in. But I mean, this fight's insane. It's Puda Nova. Like, there's no way I'm betting on Puda. Pudilova, she let me down a few times because I thought I'm like, all right, like this girl, a long kickboxer, whatever. No idea how she got back to UFC. If you bet on Wu Yanan, I mean, I guess you just figure, fuck it, plus money. Like, there's no way. I can't see how you're handicapping this and liking Wu overall. I mean, yeah, you're talking about the takedowns, but I mean, Wu, she doesn't really have patented takedowns. It fights in the suck, dude. I'm not literally. I haven't even thought about like 1 second betting on this fight, so I'm cool with it. Very cool with it. You want to bet the sub? Good for you. I don't think she's gonna be looking to attempt subs. Like this woman needs a win in the worst way. So if she is holding down Pudilova, she's not going for a submission. She's just gonna try to hold her down. So big pass. Get me to the next fight, please. Thank you.
I don't know, bro. I think you should tail me on this one.
Good luck, dude.
Okay. The last women's sub prop we disagreed on was
Who's
it was
that?
that Waterson
Who's that?
Lemos one, remember?
Oh,
16 to
all right.
1.
Yeah. Well, I said
The
that.
footage is out
I
there.
said the. Yeah. Well, I said to take the Michelle Waterson sub. So
Yeah, but mine won. All right. Next fight,
should have been a
bantamweight
TKO.
division.
Actually, I don't
The
know.
great.
I don't know if you heard, but that should have been a TKO. Actually,
Why it was like a verbal tap or something?
it was a technical stoppage. He didn't see a submission. The fighter called it.
Oh,
It
oh, right,
was like
right.
a retirement
Lucky
TKO.
win, lucky win. Yeah.
Oh.
Next fight, bantamweight division. The greatest mixed martial arts fighter ever, Jose Aldo, taking on Merab Dvalishvili. The odds have Merab as the minus 134 favorite, Aldo plus 114. Ozzy, I'm glad you're starting this one off. Let's hear your analysis on this fight.
Yeah, cool fight. I mean, any of these top 5 to 8 bantamweight, featherweight, flyweight fights, they're pretty interesting. I mean, they got a nice diverse pool of like different styles of guys. I wasn't really thinking this fight was gonna happen. I didn't really think they were gonna give Jose uh any grapplers or wrestlers at least. And Marab's probably the most tenacious wrestler in the whole division. He's been working on the ground and pound lately. Once he settles people down, I think this fight's gonna just be absolute madness, chaos all around. Marab is not. He's not one to just stay back if you're landing on him. And then even when he's throwing, like he's throwing really hard. He's throwing combinations. Like the guy's crazy. His striking has been getting a little better, and I think him getting caught a few times, a number of times, by Marlon Moraes has like people. I'm not gonna say forgetting because the guy's not a good striker. But I mean, he used to be a really bad, bad, bad striker. And yeah, he got countered a few times. Marlon Moraes is fucking legit. He puts, he definitely goes out for the attack in round 1. He knows how he's gonna fucking win these fights. He's got a deadly left hook. He's pretty quick. And yeah, Jose Aldo, he has similar features. But I don't think that he's going to be launching the kind of counters with the hands in quick succession after Marab attacks as easily, as often, or as much ferocity as Marlon did in that round 1. And I think Marab ends up starting to chip away at him. Throwing some shots. Jose, he just looks to the power shots a little bit. You saw that in the Rob Font fight. Doesn't jab as much. You saw that in the Pedro fight. Obviously he won clearly, but he was much less volume. He's got great defense. Like his defensive, he's got a defensive like aura about him. Like you just step in close to him and he's deflecting attacks and he's seeing everything. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Jose win this fight. Just being able to land the uppercut or read Marab's tendencies. But I think this fight goes later. I don't think that he's gonna be, like the Marlon fight where Jose is like hurting him bad in the first round. Maybe a little later, maybe a little bit after he gets like a few reads on him overall. But I think Marab, in the end of the day, starts getting the wrestling going, starts getting that back clinch. Jose starts fatiguing a little bit from being, having to move so much and all this kind of stuff. And Marab ends up winning the fight by decision. That's my pick for the fight. That's my bet for the fight. I got a little Marab minus 120, nothing too significant. But I think Marab Devalishvili from New York, Long Island, is gonna win this fight against the legend Jose Aldo.
I pick Aldo. I have to pick Jose Aldo because Merab has physicality on his side, right? He's more durable. He's got absolutely insane cardio. And he's tenacious, he's ferocious. He never stops coming at you. But I don't think the guy is that intelligent of a fighter. I don't think he has a lot of complexity to his game. He just kind of comes forward and spams strikes and spams takedowns and it wins a lot of fights. But I think he is gonna hit a wall at the top, top of the division, and I think Jose Aldo is still capable of being that wall. I still think that, he's got enough left in the tank. I think that, obviously prime Aldo 45 Aldo, would be massive favorite in this fight, but he has, not looked as good at 135 in terms of his wrestling. He had impenetrable takedown defense at 145. Since he got down to 135, I think took him down briefly. Marlon Moraes hit a lat drop on him, and he just doesn't seem to have that same ability to stay standing as he did at 135 or at 145. But it's not like Merab is, gonna keep him down. Merab never keeps his opponents down. Like fucking like Gustavo Lopez stood up 10 times, and like these guys who are not good grapplers stood up 10 times versus Merab. His whole game is to take you down, and he lets you back up, and he just keeps taking you down over and over again. Now, that might work against Aldo, but I just think that Aldo is going to have to slow down here substantially for that to work. We're going to be in the big cage, and I think that is a huge advantage for Aldo because he has the better footwork. He has the better ability to control where the fight's at in the cage. So when the fight is striking, obviously Jose Aldo is going to have a substantial advantage. And Marab has to get the fight against the cage in the wrestling. He has to pressure Aldo effectively to get the fight into his range. And I just don't think he's going to be able to pressure and close the distance on Aldo without eating jabs and counter left hooks and leg kicks. And I think that Marab is just going to be, wide open for strikes at range here. And that's definitely going to lead Aldo to win the first round. I think he's going to outstrike Merab while he's fresh. He's going to win the first round. The toughest test comes in round two when we can see if Aldo can keep that pace. He's going to be have to circling a lot. He's going to be, not being able to stand his ground. But I'm going to be interested to see if Aldo's gas tank can sustain that in the second and third round. Now he is coming off a 5-round fight. This is only a 3-round fight. He's been historically a great 5-round fighter in his career. So I think the 3-round fight is another advantage for Aldo here. If the fight was 5 rounds, I would definitely favor Merab to a bigger extent. But the cage, the 3-round aspect for Aldo, I think those are both good things for him. And I think that considering I think he's going to win the first round and has potential to win two, I think that I gotta side with him here as the underdog. I mean, Jose Aldo as an underdog has always got to be an interesting bet for you. And I bet against Aldo with Munoz. I learned my lesson. I don't want to ever bet against him again, especially not at a favorite price, man. You're betting against the greatest fighter ever at favorite price with some guy who jumped headfirst into a frozen lake. So I got Jose Aldo. I think he's going to win by decision, going opposite of Ozzy here. And honestly, it would be really depressing if Aldo lost his fight. So I haven't decided if I'm going to bet him yet. I'll be, firmly cheering for him, my favorite fighter ever. But it would be double sad if I lost. I'm gonna bet him. I'm gonna bet him. We ride together. If he loses, I lose. That's enough about that one. It's a great matchup though at the UFC. I mean, I have some pause about the fight because Aldo has declined enough to where the fight is actually competitive. So great matchmaking. But co-main event time, middleweight division, the return of Luke Rockhold taking on the juggernaut Paulo Costa. Costa minus 375, Rockhold plus 310. So Rockhold coming off of a 3-year layoff. Last fight was Jan Blachowicz back in 2019. And he got destroyed in that fight. That was at 205, of course. I don't know why he thought 205 was a good idea. Probably just didn't want to cut weight, and it went extremely poorly for him in that fight. And it seems like the UFC is not happy with Luke, or they don't want Luke to succeed because they could have given him a lot easier of a matchup than Paulo Costa. It seems like they actually gave him one of the hardest matchups possible. So the UFC doesn't seem to want Luke to succeed here. Now, on the feet, I do think that Costa, considering he's more active, he's younger, he's faster, he's more durable. He's going to have the advantage on the feet here. While Luke probably would have had the advantage several years ago, the advantage has now shifted to Costa, and I think that Luke is going to need to grapple to win the fight. He's going to need to hit takedowns to win the fight. But Luke historically has a really good top game. When he gets on top, he's nasty with ground and pound. He's really good with submissions as well. His wrestling is, I would say, just okay, decent, maybe even a little bit below average. But I mean, one takedown here for Luke is all he needs to probably be the favorite in the live lines. I mean, the guy does a substantial amount of damage on top, and that just alone gives me pause in betting Costa here. I mean, there's no way you can bet Costa at this price minus 400. Forget about it. I think the only way to play the fight is probably on the prop side of things. And there, I think probably the over 1.5 is an interesting line. I think that Rocco can probably survive to make it past 1.5 rounds. Um, and it's dog or pass. I don't have a super clear, confident angle on the fight, but I do think the line is a bit wide. The over is likely value, and I'm just hoping it's a good fight. I hope it's not another boring fight or something like that. Uh, and I'm looking forward to it though. What about you, Ozzy?
Interesting fight. I mean, Luke Rocco is a very interesting fighter. Like he does never really goes to decision. He gets you on the ground. He's very very dangerous, strong, very strong hips, subpar wrestling, and then on the feet, he's got dangerous weapons that create big strikes and big moments. But he's not really been consistent, like being in the pocket or pressuring. So you don't really know what you're gonna get. I'm gonna have a bet on Luke inside the distance at I guess you get 550, 6-1, somewhere around there. I just think that if he wins this fight, it's gonna be him finishing Costa. It's gonna be he clips Costa with a punch, finishes with a guillotine, gets him down, gets to mount, gets his back, something like that. And that forces Costa that Costa just either is defensively void or rocked or something like that. I just don't see him winning a decision here, especially one where like if Luke is having like there's no way I think that Luke is at range for 15 minutes and it's like a good fight for him. Like I wouldn't want to even if he wins, like I wouldn't want the sweat of him always I wouldn't want the sweat. Don't get me wrong. But I think that's a low probability thing. I think more likely if he's having success, if he's not washed, if Post is faltering at all, it's because Luke gets some takedowns, and usually when he gets takedowns, he's pretty aggressive, and then I think Costa also will be looking to do like high danger, like little maneuvers. And if Luke could beat him in any of these positions, get him in the bad spot, I think he could get a finish here. So inside the distance, at that big number, and just like sit back, enjoy the fight. If he gets knocked out, is what it is, I think. But I'd like to play into the variance of a guy who if he does, if even Costa slips, falls to the ground, I don't know what something, who knows? He's throwing a kick, Luke throws like a push kick, and he fall. Who knows? So I'll take a little stab on that for action, and we'll move on and hope that Luke could show his old self a little bit.
Yeah, I think, rewatching the Costa fight this week, Costa like shot a takedown on Vittori in one of the mid rounds and then was on top briefly, but then he got reversed in a really sloppy fashion that actually makes me think that Luke might have a path here with the grappling because I think like in those competitive like wrestling exchanges, Costa could end up on his back here. Um,
Costa was almost getting out wrestled by Logan Paul, bro. Right? Remember that? Remember that video? Luke Rockhold.
I don't know. I don't know if
Luke
that was real. I remember
Rockhold.
they filmed a funny video of
Luke
Costa
Rockhold is
knocking.
different. He's no Logan Paul on the mats. I'll tell you. You see him. This motherfucker is like triangling Michael Chiesa like on demand. When he's rolling. This guy's a good grappler. So
Great grab.
it showed off.
And that's going to bring us main event time. The rematch in the welterweight division. Kamaru Usman, the champion, taking on Leon Edwards. The first fight took place back in 2015. It was one of Edwards' first fights in the UFC. Usman was coming off the Contender Series, and Usman won the fight rather easily. It was competitive, but it was very clear win for Usman. The judges did give Leon one round. Two out of three judges gave Leon the first round, but the pressure, the takedowns, and everything of Usman really added up in that fight, and got Usman the decision. Um, it's your turn to this one off, Ozzy. What are you thinking about the rematch?
I was giving Leon a little bit of a chance, but I rewatched some stuff today, and bro, Leon's not winning. He's not beating Kamaru Usman because, like, even he needs to know that, like, how he's gonna knock out Kamaru Usman. I mean, it could happen. It could, one of those elbows, just a big shot here or there. Um, that he throws in like a little left hand or whatever it is. But realistically, man, the guy does not throw out a lot of volume. Other than the first round when he's has a decent amount of energy, he does slow down when he does have to put out more output. He does not maintain the pocket very well. He does not fight on the front foot for long stretches of time. The guy was on the back foot against Nate Diaz at multiple points. Like Nate Diaz is on the front foot forcing boxing exchanges, and Leon's like dipping in, going for the clinch, getting put against the fence from there by again Nate Diaz and just not controlling that fight that much. I mean, the guy clearly slowed down that fifth round, even without the knockout, the big punch by Nate. Nate was winning that round anyway. He had landed on him a few times pretty cleanly, so it just made me very bearish. Like, man, the guy got some takedowns against like Dos Anjos and some of these guys. Like, he's not grappling. Come on, look at the takedown he gets in the first round against Nate Diaz. Zero threat. Like he's behind Nate Diaz. It literally matters 0%. And he's just not getting takedowns like Kamaru Usman. So I think Usman's gonna be able to control the clinch, push him against the fence, reposition when he needs to. He's gonna be able to smash Leon, grind him against the fence. And then at range, I mean Leon, I think it could be a little competitive with early on because Leon when he's fresh, he does have some good parries. So I think I'm curious to see if he's able to parry and not get jabbed, out jabbed or jabbed up, however way you want to describe it, by Kamaru. But I think this guy's losing. Like I'm not betting on Leon. I think he's drawn kind of dead. I mean, I think the over is okay, but honestly, after seeing how much slower he looked against Nate, how he was eating some of those punches, I think Kamaru could easily finish this guy overall. So I'm gonna stay away from that. I might use Kamaru as a parlay piece. He's not losing to Leon Edwards. Like it needs to be a big shot, needs to hurt him. He's not losing a normal decision to Leon Edwards, and Leon Edwards he just doesn't work enough. So I got Kamaru keep his title.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to feel great about Leon winning, but I definitely think his chances are better than Ozzy, and the market is giving him credit for. Um, my main position on the fight is going to be the fight going the distance. I do have a bet on that already, minus 140 on Bet Online. Um, honestly, anything, guys, anything under 2 to 1, I do think is value. I mean, have a few minute sample size of them fighting, albeit a long time ago, but there wasn't even remotely close to a finish in that fight. These guys, they fought at a pedestrian pace for 15 minutes, and Usman pushed him against the cage. They stalled against the cage for a while. When Usman took him down, he didn't get good positions. He was in guard, and then Leon would stand up. And the striking exchanges were competitive. The clinch exchanges were competitive. Whenever Usman would enter in a takedown, he would get hit with a knee, and Leon was able to separate from a few clinches, stuff a few takedowns. That was way back then, 7 years ago. And the difference I saw watching that fight this week was that Usman was way more athletic back then. Like he moved a lot better. He was able to pressure opponents better. He was just a lot fresher. And Usman's been very vocal about his knees. Went on the Rogan podcast years ago, just saying that he can't even run or he can't even wrestle more than a few days a week because his knees are so bad. And that's going to add up over time. The guy is 35 years old now. And I think at some point Usman's, insane athleticism will start to wane a little bit, and he won't be able to, use that cheat code athleticism to kind of make these fights easier for him. And I think there's a possibility that this might be the time where he's not going to be able to just bully this fight into the clinch. He's going to have trouble getting Leon Edwards with his back against the cage because Leon Edwards has really smart footwork. He knows where he's in at the cage at all times. And there are times you can point at the Nate Diaz fight and find some bad moments of that, but it's just such a different matchup. I mean, I think it's even kind of similar with Usman versus Covington. Like Usman knows that Colby Covington can't punch for shit, and he's okay with having a little bit of a competitive striking fight with him at times because he knows Colby can't hurt him. Same thing with Nate Diaz. I mean, eventually Nate hurt him in the fifth and final round, but I mean, Leon fought that fight with a much different approach than he will versus Kamaru. He's gonna have a lot of respect for Kamaru. He's gonna be fighting a lot smarter, a lot more tactically. And I think that, Leon's been, searching for this fight for years and years. And I think that, he's made a lot of improvements. And I think he actually has a lot of tools to make this Usman's toughest fight in a long time. And I think that he will make it his toughest fight. I think either guy is going to be winning a decision here. 3 rounds to 2, maybe 4-1. I'm definitely not confident in Leon Edwards, but I think his chances are a lot better than the odds indicate here. The odds are putting his chances at lower than 25%. I think they're more like 30 to 33 is where I put them at. So I'll likely have a small bet here on Leon with my main position being the GTD. I think you should try to have a secured profit if the fight GTDs. Um, and just hope for a cherry on top with Leon getting this decision win. But like I was saying, man, with these Utah judges, I doubt they're seeing much MMA. If it's a close fight that's going to the decision, you might as well have the 3-1 dog in this scenario. I mean, uh, I just think that that could be a very potential live trend for this card is bad judging because have you guys ever watched MMA in Utah before? Because I haven't, so there's no fucking way to know what these judges are going to be like on Saturday. Definitely keep that in mind. And with that being said, that's going to do it for this card here. Any closing thoughts, Ozzy, before we get into our best bet of the week?
And for that you just saw, I mean, Leon decision is like plus 900. So I think guy's not winning.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I think that's his win condition, isn't it? The guy doesn't
That
hurt
is,
people like
yeah.
you were
That's
saying.
the
I
only
mean,
way he's gonna win.
exactly. I mean, I think that's yeah,
That's not gonna
900.
happen.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Colby Covington was in the first fight was close to winning
Yeah,
a
I
decision.
was big on Colby in that first fight. We should have won that. Colby's Leon, bro. Colby would cook Leon. I'm certain.
That's a fight I want to see. No matter what happens after this fight, that's a fight I want to see.
Leon
But the real
cannot hang
thing,
with these guys. They're
the
too
real thing
active.
though,
We'll see.
who beats Leon, Kamaru, and Colby? You know who beats him, Ozzy?
Steven Thompson.
Hamzat Chimaev beats all three.
See.
All right, so I've got my best bet locked in. I definitely know that you're not going to be betting this first, so I want to hear your best bet first. What is yours?
Sean Woodson inside the distance.
Damn, plus money.
Let
I
it
like
rip.
that one. Plus 175. I like that
Let
bet
it
as
rip.
well. I'll be on that straight. And I'm going with one of my staple bets lately, the main event GTD. The main event GTD at minus 150, the fight I was just talking about. I mean, truthfully, on Ozzy, you don't think the fight. So you just said Leon's not finishing Usman, right? You don't think Usman's chances of KO are
I
forty
don't know,
percent,
dude. How? No, but look how he was taking some of those shots from Nate. Like
even
he's,
if
I think
it's
he can
thirty
get fucked
percent
up
though,
here
bro.
easy.
That's possible. Even if it's
Eh,
30%,
listen,
there's still a lot of value
yeah,
on that
I was thinking
GTD.
about it, but I'm
Um,
not on it. I'm not on it no more.
I don't know. These main events this year have GTD like
100%
crazy.
agree. That's
Woodson ITD is plus 175. That's Ozzy's best bet. Mine is GTD in the main event. That's minus 150. Comes out to plus 358 on Bet Online right now. So that will be our best bet parlay of the week. And that'll do it. Check us out on maybe Twitter Spaces talking about some other cards this week. There's PFL. There's no Bellator, but there's LFA. There's a few other fights going on. Obviously, the big Usyk Joshua rematch is going on this weekend. So there's a lot of fights going on, and look out for us talking about some more fights on Twitter. Any closing thoughts here, Ozzy?
Nope, I'm good.
Sounds good, everyone. Well, thank you for listening. Hope you all enjoy the fights this weekend. Win some bets. Make sure you join our live spaces to hear us talk about these fights as they go on live. Talk about some live bets. And thank you all for listening. See you all before the next UFC event. We're off next week, so we'll be back the early September card. I think it might be the Paris card, right? Or yeah, the Paris card next card. So we'll see you all then. Peace out, everyone.